Hey guys, welcome back to Explainer X. Today, I am going to recap a 2010 comedy film, named MILF. So, let's begin. Brandon is a freshman at the university pursuing a degree in economics. This morning, he is walking toward his class while looking at the college girls doing various activities on the school's grounds. Due to his sexually inactive state, everything that Brandon sees seems to turn him on, and he cannot stop staring at the girls. This causes a classmate of his to call him a creep and threaten to let the whole class know. Brandon's best friend, Anthony, is on a mission to get some booze for his friends. Their fraternity brothers are hosting a party that night, so Brandon asked Anthony to ensure that they have booze sorted. The hope is that the boys will finally dump their V-cards. Anthony makes a joke about Brandon's mom, who is recently divorced. Anthony claims that she is a MILF that is a mother Anthony would like to get intimate with. Brandon warns Anthony about making a move on his mother before hanging up. Anthony gets to Brandon's house and the mom, Lori, lets him in. As the two interact, it is obvious that there is some sexual tension building up. Lori lets Anthony take the booze he needs. Anthony is about to leave when something prompts him to turn back. He walks inside the house and startles Lori, who was getting ready for showering. Her towel falls off her body and Anthony can only stare at the naked woman before him. That night at the party, the senior boys have the party held on the roof, keeping Brandon and his two gamer friends, Nate and Ross, out. Anthony brings the booze, but he is still numb from fantasizing about Lori. The senior boys come in and take the booze. When the boys protest, they are thrown out in the garbage. The boys decide to head over to Anthony's home. Anthony explains how his mom, Holly, is taking Lori out to reintroduce her to the dating scene. Nate makes a comment on how dating older women can be a blessing for them. Since the boys are young and virile, it is quite easy for them to hook up with desperate women. When they get to Anthony's, the boys find Lori and Holly having a personal private pleasure party. This sight makes Anthony so disgusted that he questions whether the women are lovers. The boys decide to spend the night in the guest house. Here, Anthony confesses how he saw Lori naked, making Brandon leave the house for some fresh air. While walking through the ground, he witnesses Holly undressing but is caught when the lights come on. That night, he has a fantasy where Holly approaches him and gives him oral service. This dream is interrupted by Anthony, who is feeling apologetic for his earlier actions. He promises Brandon that he will be his personal slave for as long as he needs. Anthony realizes that he left his wallet at home, so the two head back. As Anthony goes to retrieve the wallet, Holly approaches Brandon. Brandon tries to apologize for the previous night, but Holly ends up kissing him. She also takes Brandon's phone and snaps a few lewd photos. On the drive to school, Anthony sees the pictures and assumes that Brandon has a mystery lover. That night, the boys go to hang out at a popular MILF spot. Nate and Ross have a bet going about who will score the most women by the end of the year. As the night carries on, both boys get their conquests. Ross has Brandon drive him and his woman home, where they end up having a very nasty sexual encounter. Meanwhile, Nate finds himself in a weird threesome with an older couple. The next day, the two boys brag about their conquests, even though Ross has trouble believing Nate. For this, the two borrow Brandon's camera so that they can record their quests as proof. Brandon's friends have a class together, so Brandon is all alone in the room. He sets up his camera and is about to peep on his roommate getting intimate when someone knocks on his door. Holly apologizes for her actions and says that she was trying to be impulsive. Fortunately, the heat between the two of them is so strong that they end up kissing. Brandon even learns about the penis ring and finally gets intimate with Holly. When he is about to ejaculate, he pulls out and stands by the wall, close to the peephole. Coincidentally, their senior bully is looking through to investigate the moaning noises and Brandon's ejaculate shoots over his eye. Holly gets ready to leave but the two hear the door opening signaling that Anthony is back. The two hides under the bed, so when Anthony comes in, he assumes that Brandon has left. Anthony finds that Brandon had accidentally recorded his affair, even though the woman isn't clearly visible. He pleasures himself to this and then leaves the room. Following this awkward encounter, Brandon and Holly start meeting up regularly to get intimate. This makes him stop hanging out with the guys and Anthony starts to feel neglected. He is not the only one getting action, since Nate and Ross have a list of women to get through. Over the next few weeks, getting service seems to be the only thing going on in the boys' minds. One One day, Nate and Ross invite Anthony to the market. The plan is to get Anthony some, as he has been missing some action. Anthony helps a woman with her groceries and the two end up being intimate in the woman's house. Nate and Ross follow him so that they can record the act through the windows. In the morning, Anthony is woken up by three kids who wonder if he is their new daddy. Anthony leaves the house so fast that he dresses up in the car. Holly invites Brandon for a romantic candlelit dinner. She explains how meaningless her life had seemed, but Brandon's presence had made it better. Anthony's father comes into town and wants to have dinner with his family. Since Brandon has been Anthony's friend since childhood, he has to be at the dinner. Brandon tries to back out of it, but Anthony refuses to take no for an answer. Anthony's parents' divorce was not very amicable, so the parents argue a little bit. Anthony mentions that Brandon is seeing some mysterious woman, and Anthony's dad urges him to be adventurous. After dinner, Anthony has to go pick up Nate as he has an emergency, so Anthony's dad agrees to give Brandon a ride back to the campus. After Anthony leaves, Anthony's father remarks that he knows Brandon has been getting intimate with Holly. While he does not need an apology from Brandon, he wants Brandon to think about the implications this affair might do on his friendship with Anthony. Anthony gets to the hotel where Nate's latest conquest is at. Nate is getting intimate with their physics professor's wife. Luckily, Anthony sees the husband walk into the lobby and stalls him enough to let Nate escape. Similarly, Ross is with another woman when she starts foaming in the mouth, so he calls 911 and leaves. After an interesting night with Holly, Brandon is woken up by Anthony, who serves him breakfast and calls him Daddy. The two men spend the day playing sports, with Brandon being Anthony's stepfather and Anthony seemingly cool with it. Brandon wakes up with a start, lucky it was a dream. His joy turns to horror when he finds his camera is destroyed. He reprimands Nate and Ross for destroying his equipment and urges them to take responsibility for their actions. However, the boys are worried about the large number of texts coming in from prospective MILFs. Anthony asks Brandon whether he thinks that his parents are getting back together. He is sad because he knows that his parents were never happy. Before Brandon can answer, Nate and Ross come up with a plan. They should have a party at Anthony's house, and this will be a way to end their bet with a bang. Brandon is at the notice board when a girl approaches Shim. The girl, Alex, has been a love interest, but Brandon is shy about approaching her. She looks forward to the party and hopes to see him there. Brandon approaches Holly intending to end the affair. Holly feels that Brandon is dumping her because he is now popular in school. She also mentions that she wants to be happy and Brandon is the only one who can do that. She refuses to let Brandon break up with her. The party is a success and Nate relaxes after seeing the MILFs interact with other college guys. Brandon sees Alex and starts talking to her. Alex is surprised that a guy their age would be interested in an older woman, so Brandon ignores this. Alex says that she will be an intern over the summer, so they can hang out when he wants. The conversation is interrupted by Holly, who wants Brandon to follow her inside. Holly is amazed that Brandon didn't leave and believes that the action means that Brandon is into her as well. Holly starts kissing Brandon and a few seconds later, Anthony walks in on them. He is disgusted to learn that the affair has been going on for months. Anthony punches Brandon in the face and the two start fighting in the indoor sauna. After the boys calm down, Brandon apologizes for his acts and promises to do whatever he can to make up for it. Anthony reveals that he had also slept with Lori on the day he saw her naked. The two boys agree that this makes them even and that they can move on. Holly approaches the boys, wanting to talk privately to Brandon. She expresses her feelings about the affair, saying that while it was a great thing, it cannot be more. It would be weird for them to keep being together due to the implications it brings in their lives. The boys break for summer and say their goodbyes. Anthony has to meet up with his father for dinner, so he promises to talk to Brandon later. Brandon runs into Alex, who is also packing to move out. Alex claims that Anthony had told her everything about what had transpired between them. Brandon is relieved to hear that Anthony had made up a story, concealing the truth. Brandon and Alex kiss, signaling that love can be found in weird situations after all. And movie ends here. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. So, click any video of 3 of them, and enjoy next. Please don't forget to subscribe our channel, and please like the video, and tell us in the comment how you